everyone, this is SFX, and in today's video I'm gonna show you the backtested trades on CADJPY on daily time frame. So let's start the video. So as you can see, the setup on 1 hour time on daily time frame, you can see market was in uptrend and uptrend. Then it makes a support here, downside here. Once this support and this trend line gets breakout at this place, I would enter this trade at here, and my take profit area would be at this candle. So it would be a 1:2 trade, 1:2 hour trade. Now let's move to the next setups. So the next setup would be this trend line break setup. Here you can see it was having multiple touches on this trend line. Once the trend line gets breakout, I would wait for this support to get break, and here we can see a good candle of sellers, and it break this support area. So I would took this 1:4 hour trade, and then you can see another support being made here, and once this support also gets break, I would again entered on this trade, and it was be 1:2 hour trade. Now let's move far back. So here you can see a good setup of trend line break and support break, as this trend line was having multiple touches here, and this trend line finally broke here with having a support area downside, and this low was also here. So once this low and this support area gets break, I would enter this trade here with the confirmation of trend line break, low break and support break. So it would be 2.5 hour trade, as you can see here. Now let's move to the next trade, and this is one of the best trade I would took if I would be trading then. So as you can see, market was in overall uptrend, but then from here it shifted to downtrend, and there was a trend line here. As you can see, once the trend line and this resistance area gets breakout here at this position, I would took this trade, and it would be 1:8 hour trade. So that would be a very good trade. Now let's move to the next trade here. So the next trade, you can see market was in uptrend followed by this trend line, and once this trend line, these lows and this support gets break here, I would enter this trade on this retest, because this trend line won't be break before earlier. So it would be 2 hour trade, and the next trade would be also a good trade, because here you can see the support area and earlier resistance area which turned here into support. This got break out here, so it would be also a 2 hour trade here. Now let's move to the next trade. This is a clean trade of a break of support area. Here you can see market was having this support area from multiple months, and once this support area gets break, you can see how clean market shifted to downtrend and gave us 3 hour trade. Now let's move to the next trades. The next trade, as you can see there was a support here with having 3 touches, and this candle shows that this support is a very good support, and once this gets break here at this place, we would enter this trade, and it would be 2.5 hour trade. Next trade, we can see market was in downtrend followed by this trend line, and once this trend line gets break out here and this small resistance area, also the highs of this downtrend gets break here, so I would enter this trade, and this would be a 2% or 2 hour trade. Next trade was also a simple trade. Here you can see this was a clean support area. It was not having multiple touches, but you can see there was a low here, and once this low gets break, I would enter this trade. And now let's move to the next trade. Next trade would be also a good trade, because this trend line was having multiple touches, and this small resistance area would also get break. If I would miss this entry here, I would retake this entry here because of this retest, and it would be a 2-hour trade. Now let's move to the another trade, and this is a good example of support of resistance and trend line break. As you can see, again there were multiple touches on this trend line. This trend line gets break out here, but I waited for this for this high to get break, and the market reverse from here and give a fake out to this trend line, but we waited for this low to get breakout, and once this lows also get breakout here, kind of resistance area, so I would enter this trade, and it would be a 3-hour trade. So now let's move to the next trade. Next trade is also a pretty simple trade. Here you can see why. Let me explain you. Because you can see here was a resistance area, market was following, it has multiple touches. Every time the market touch this resistance area, it pulled back to downside. Here you can see, then it make a kind of support downside, and once the support gets break, I would enter this trade, and it would be 2.5 hour trade. Now you can see there was a low here. This low would be also get breakout, so there was not so much risk in this trade, and then eventually we would hit our take profit area at this place. So now let's move to the next trade. This is a perfect trend line breakout trade. As you can see here, market was in uptrend and followed by this trend line, and there was a little bit support, because earlier this area was resistance which turns into support here. So once this gets breakout here, I would enter here, and it would be 3-hour trade. So this is what is the back testing for the pair CADJPY. Now let's move to EURUSD. I think we have some, yeah, this is a very good trend line breakout trade, but it is too long like this. So one touch was here, second touch was here, now third touch here, fourth, fifth. So once this trend line gets breakout here at this place, the breakout happened, and with this low, is it low? No, with this low also gets breakout here, and it was kind of little bit support here which gets break with this trend line break. So I would enter this trade, and it would be 3-hour trade. And yeah, this is what for EURUSD. I have not done much back testing on EURUSD. Let me show you the trades on 5-minute chart on the pair CADJPY. Here are some of the good trend line breakout trades. Here you can see market was in uptrend followed by highs and lows. This was a live trade which I posted on YouTube also. So once this trend line was having multiple touches here, once this trend line was breakout here, you can see this breakout, I waited for this kind of small support breakout too, and once this happened, I took this 2-hour trade. My take profit was at this area, and yeah, it was a nice successful live trade. Now let's move to the previous day trade. This was also a live trade, and I will soon post a YouTube video for this trade too. You can see market was in uptrend followed by this trend line, and this trend line was having multiple touches, and market was consolidating at this point. So before breakout, market was consolidating, which means it is a good build up, and if a build up is there before this trend line or support break, it means that this trade is going to be good, and there is going to be a good volume. So once this trend line and this little bit support gets break here, I entered this trade live, and it was 2-hour trade. so I would earn 2% trade here. Now let's move to the next trade. So here you can see there was a trend line. It was having multiple touches, but I don't took trade on this break of this trend line. I waited for more confirmation, and here was a support area which was earlier resistance area at this place. So I waited for this to get breakout, and here I finally took this trade, and it was 2 hour trade, so it was also a good trade. Now let's move to the next trade of this week. These all trades are live trade. Here you can see market was in uptrend, and so you can see here an support area. Earlier this was resistance area, because you can see this candle, how big candle this was. And once it gets break, I waited for this retest, and at this retest I entered this trade, and it was 1.5 hour trade. Next we have a break of this trend line. As you can see, this market was following this trend line and having multiple touches here. Once this trend line gets break, I waited for this low, because this low was near, and I thought the market would reverse from here. Then we have a good build up here, and once the market break this support here with this trend line break, I have many confirmations, 2 confirmations for this trade. And so I took this 2 hour trade. It was also a live trade, and this was the first trade of this week, and it was also a live trade. Market was following this trend line, and it was in downtrend. So once this trend line gets break and this low also gets break here, I have entered this trade here, and it was 2 hour trade. So yeah, now let's move for the next pair, GBPJPY. I would like to show you some trades which I took on GBPJPY also for this week. So here you can see market was in downtrend, and this area has this low. So once this low gets break in downtrend, let me show you what is it. So once this low gets break here, market shift to uptrend. This is what happens. This is what is called price action. So once this low gets high gets break here, I entered this trade on kind of this retest, and it was 1.5 hour trade. Now let's move to the next trade. Previous trade. This trade was also a live trade. Here you can see market was having this trend line here, and market was having multiple touches on this trend line. Once this trend line gets breakout here, and here was a kind of support area downside also. So once this trend line and the support area gets breakout here, I entered this trade, and it was 2 hour trade. So it was a live trade, and I think I should upload a video for this trade too, but I got my take profit hit in just 10 minutes. So that how short was that trade is. This was another trade. This high gets break here. I entered this trade, and it was 1.5 hour trade. It was kind of small trade, but yeah, it was a trade. Now this is what called a continuation trade. The trend was in uptrend, and I know the trend is in uptrend, so I waited for the setup. As you can see, I could took a trade here, but I have not taken a trade here, because here was so much support, this resistance area, and this liquidity and supply and this zone. So I waited for these zones to get clear. Once the support gets break here, this resistance, and then it give a retest here, and after this retest is break here, you can see a kind of resistance zone again. So I thought it is a good trade, and I entered on this trade, and it was 2 hour trade. Nice 25 pips trade. And yeah, now let's move to the next trade. Now this is kind of head shoulder pattern also, but I would tell you that this is a support break trade. As you can see, market was in uptrend, and there was these lows with this support, and once this gets breakout here, I entered this trade. It was 2-hour trade. So yeah, this was good trade. Now let's move to the next pair, which is Euro USD. We don't have many trades in Euro USD. I think we have only 1 or 2 trades in Euro USD. This was a live trade, 2% gain. It was kind of not a good setup because this was having only 2 touches. I thought I should enter, so I entered, and it was 2-hour trade. And here we have consolidations, so I won't trade in consolidation, kind of consolidation. Now yeah, we have a trade. I took this live trade. Market was in consolidation, and then here was a kind of downtrend in that consolidation. Once this, here was this resistance area. Once this resistance area gets break, but here was a very big candle of buyers, so I thought if I would enter at this place, it would be a bad entry trade, and I waited, and there was a retest of this zone, so I entered on this retest, and it was 2% gain on this retest. And yeah, this was another trend line break, and here was 1.5 hour trade. These were the trades which I have taken in this week, trading this CADJPY, Euro USD, GBPJPY,